Hey everybody, welcome back to another Racked Up Adventure. I got another good one for you. I've got a Savage 110 Timberline chambered in 270 Winchester. We are going to sight this in and do ammo testing. I've got 12 types of ammo, as you can see in front of me, from 100 grain all the way up to 150 grain. I'm going to have to divide this up into two videos. I'll do the lighter grain 6 first, and then I'll do the heavier grain 6 in the next video. But we're going to get 6 of these downrange, see how they group, see which one this rig likes the best. I've got a Banish 30 can on the end of it. I've got an Athlon Harris SPR scope. I went with the Athlon scope because I've got an Athlon Rangecraft, and I've been so impressed with that I wanted to try an Athlon scope out. So I picked up this Harris SPR. Like I said, it's a 2x12 by 42. It's got exposed turrets. It's second focal plane. I'm looking forward to seeing how this scope performs. I've heard some good things about Athlon. This is going to be my first test with them, and I'll let you know what I think about them when I'm done. But anyways, 12 types of ammo, 6 in the first video, 6 in the second video. Savage 110 Timberline, chambered in 270 Winchester. If you guys watched my unboxing show, you know the history about me wanting a 270 and just never getting around to it. Well, I've got around to it. I've got it sitting on the bench, and we're going to sight it in. Let me get this all set up, and we'll get to flinging some lead. For those of you that watch my channel pretty regularly or seen a lot of my videos, you've seen me go through this bore sighting process. But I'm just going to quickly talk about it, and then we will I'll do the work off camera just so that the video is not so long. And if anybody's got any questions on bore sighting, you can always shoot me comments or drop in on Tuesday when I'm on the live stream, and I can answer those questions for you. But anyhow, so what I do is I remove the bore, or remove the bolt, and then I look through the bore, and then I match the bore to the center of the target downrange, and then I move my crosshairs to the center of the target. That'll get me on paper. From that point, put one bullet downrange, and then adjust the scope accordingly. So I'm going to take this bolt out, and with the Savage, it's kind of a pain in the butt. You've got to hold the trigger and this button on front of the trigger guard, and that releases the bolt. So it's a two-step process. Got to pull the trigger in and then pull the release on the front of the trigger guard. That releases the bolt. And from here, basically just look down the bore and then match the scope up to the center of the bore. Those doggone stink bugs are everywhere. They're landing on me as I'm doing my video. But anyhow, back to what we were talking about. So I've got some Butler Creek flip caps that I bought to put on this. First time I've tried them out. They look like they're going to work pretty decent. But I'm going to look down the bore, match the scope up to it, and then we'll be ready to put one down range. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we've got the bore sighting done. I've got the bolt back in it. Bore is on the center of the target. The crosshairs are on the center of the target. So we should be on paper downrange, and then we'll do some fine tuning. I'm going to sight in today with some normal whitetail. This is a 130 grain projectile. Normally I sight in with Remington core locked, but today I'm going to switch it up a little bit, honestly, because I've got a few boxes of this normal whitetail. So I've got a little bit of extra ammo. So if I have any issues sighting it in, I'll use up this whitetail for the sight in. I'm going to go ahead and load up 3 of these. I don't know if I said it during the unboxing, but this Savage 110 Timberline is one of the few rifles that comes with a metal magazine now. Most all of them went to a plastic polymer style magazine, but this one still comes with a nice sturdy metal magazine. Pretty impressed with that portion of it. The aesthetics, awesome on this gun. The features, awesome on this gun. if this thing shoots as good as it looks and as good as the features are on it, this should be a really good rifle. Let me check this can, make sure it's tight. All right, we're good and tight there. All right, we're going to put one on paper. That surprised me. That trigger is really light. I think we measured it right at 1.92 pounds. That one surprised me. So I think I'm going to shoot one more, just because I don't know if that was a good sight line for me. I'm ready for this trigger this time. I'm going to go ahead and shoot this last one. We'll get a group right there. That action's a little stiff. Not a bad group. Looks like right about 1 MOA. I'm going to go ahead and make my scope adjustments now and get this adjusted into 0. All right, I've moved my crosshairs from the center point over to the cluster, and I brought it up a few clicks, and I'm going to fire another one to see where we come in at. Oh, looks like I may have went a little too far. I kind of thought that was a lot of clicks. I must have bumped the gun and moved it over a little bit. We'll hold it this time. All right, that should do it. All right, let's see what we did this time. All right, this will be the last one for this. We should be right where we need to be, and then we'll move on. All right, I'm going to leave it right there. That barrel is pretty hot, 6 shots. I'm going to leave it there, and then we'll go ahead and do our side ends. It's good enough. I'll have to let this come back to a cold bore state and then 0 again, cold bore. But I think I'm right there. That last one was just a little bit high, but I'm pretty much on center, about a 1/2 inch high right there. So I'm going to leave it there. All right, I'm going to let this barrel cool, and we'll come back and we'll start our groups. All right, we let her cool, so we'll come back and start another group. We're following up on the normal whitetail. So the box listed velocity on normal whitetail is 3,051 feet per second at the muzzle. And our average over the 6-shot group that we just did was 3,047.4. So right at box listed velocity. This is a 22-inch barrel, and this Savage is hitting box velocity on the normal whitetail. All right, got it set up for the next one. All right, next we're going to shoot some Remington core locked. This is a 100 grain projectile. This is saying it should be 29. I'm sorry, this one is saying it should be 3,320 feet a second at the muzzle. If I can get the box open. All right, Remington core locked, 3320 at the muzzle. I'll load 3 of these up and we'll see how these group. This is a pointed soft point round. 100 grain, I would say that this might be a decent varmint round if you wanted to varmint hunt with 270, just because of the low grain weight. But box is showing it it's good for hogs and good for deer. Let's see how it groups. I'm going to take it to the top left corner. All right, I had to do some adjusting on the scope. I could barely see the crosshairs, but I've adjusted the scope now where I've got a good clear view of the crosshairs. They were not showing up against those black targets, so it was kind of difficult. It caused me a little bit of issue, honestly, sighting it in. So I'm going to shoot this group, and I may adjust it again. But if I'm close, I'm just going to go ahead and finish the groups off, and then I'll adjust it back in at the end. Definitely had to make some adjustments to get the crosshairs to show and adjust the parallax accordingly. All right, now we're ready. Not bad. I'll tell you what, that action is stiff. I'm going to, after I shoot this group while I'm letting it cool, I'm going to put some oil and wipe down that action, put some oil on that bolt. Looks like maybe a little bit over a 1-inch group, 1.5-inch group. All right, I'm going to let this cool, and I'm going to put some oil on this bolt. All right, we let the barrel cool. Following up on the Remington Core Locked, 3320 was the box listed velocity, and we're coming in at 3347 as an average. So about 20 feet per second over box listed velocity. All right, next up, I got some 130 grain Hornady custom ammo. This ammo lists at 3,060 feet per second, so 3060. We'll see how it performs. I'm going to reset the chronograph, load up 3 of these and see how it does. This is another pointed soft point projectile. Hornady custom. Let's see what we got. We're going to go top right hand corner. Looks like about a 1-inch group, maybe a tad less. All right, on that one, box listed velocity was 3060. We came in with an average of 3035. So about 25 feet a second short of box listed velocity, but right there in the ballpark. I'm pretty happy with that. 3,000 feet a second, and that's a 130 grain projectile. We're going to let it cool, and then we'll come back for another one. Okay, we're back. Let the barrel cool. Back down to ambient temperature. We're going to try the Nosler Whitetail Country. I have had really, really good luck with this ammo on several calibers. This has predominantly come in around a half MOA on most calibers that I've tested on it, so I'm looking forward to testing it on this one. See what we come up with. This is another soft point projectile. I'm gonna load 3 up. 3060 again is the box listed velocity on this. It is 130 grain. Like I said, I'm looking forward to this one. I've had really good luck with this ammo and other calibers. If you guys aren't familiar with this, Nosler just released this Whitetail Country last year, right in hunting season. So I didn't get any by the time I got it, rifle season was over, so I never got a chance to hunt with it. But I think actually my wife may hunt with this in her 243. I did get a box of, actually a couple boxes of it for her. We're going to have to get that out and sight it in with it. But if it shoots like it has and everything else, I think I'm going to let her try that this year. But anyways, Nosler Whitetail Country, 130 grain. 3060 was the box listed velocity. Let's see how it does. All right, this is going to be in the bottom left corner. Right on top of the orange. God. We got problems with this action. I can't get this to open now. It's like it's overpressured. All right, we're going to try this again. That bolt locked up on me pretty good, and I had to take it out of the lead sled, but I got it to release. We'll try another one. I didn't see any signs of overpressure or anything with the shell itself. It's opening and releasing everything until you fire it. So let's see what happens on this one. Golly. Just pinched a nerve on my hand. This bolt will not release the shell once it's fired. I didn't see any signs of overpressure. This is factory ammo, factory gun. That bolt is locked in there, and it's gotten worse as I went along. It was tight on the first 3 ammo types, but on this Nosler Whitetail Country, I can't get it to open. So I'm going to cut this video here. If I can figure this out, we'll continue it. If not, I'm going to call Savage and see what the recommendation is. Okay, I'm back. I called Savage, and Savage told me that the technicians will not talk on the phone. They told me the only choice I got is to mail this rifle back to them. So I'm going to have to strip it all down, mail the rifle back to Savage so they can try to figure out what's wrong with this bolt. I'm going to film this here. As you're going to see here, I'm going to have to take this out of the lead sled. I'm going to prop this gun up, and I'm going to have to beat that action open so that I can get the shell out of it, because I can't ship it with a spent shell in it. So that's my next step, and then we'll look at it and see what happens from there. But watch me beat on a brand new rifle. So I had to take a soft blow hammer, and I had to literally beat that action open to get that shell to eject. I'm going to grab that and take a look at it. Okay, inspecting the 2 shells. Let me walk these around to you. Hopefully that focuses in. Let me take a step back and look. So as you can see, there are no visible signs of overpressure of any type on either one of those rounds. So it's not an overpressure issue. So there's got to be something with the bolt. Now when I get these rifles, before I bring them out to the range, I swab them down. I take the bolts out. I wipe the bolts down, make sure there's no packing grease or anything like that on them. And then from there, put a little bit of rim oil on them. And then I get them out on the table. I decided before I send this gun, tear this gun apart and send it back, I'm going to go ahead and try another type of ammo and see if it locks up like it did on the Nosler. Maybe I've got an ammo that this rig just does not like. All of them, the action's been stiff on, but that one it completely locked up. So I got two more, the Hornady American Whitetail, and I've got the Fiachi Field Dynamics. I'm going to try and shoot these last two and finish this video out, and we'll see what happens. So Hornady American Whitetail, this one is saying 3,060 feet per second. We'll load up 3 of these and let's see if we can get this thing to work. All right, Hornady American Whitetail. This one is going to go in the lower right corner. Well, that one opened up. That's a good sign. That's about a little under 1-inch group. And the rifle functioned properly for all those. So the average speed on those was 31-34 and 30-60 is the box listed velocity. So those are about 75 feet a second over box listed velocity. So again, this rifle seems to be shooting pretty fast. I'm going to let the barrel cool. We're going to try these Fiachi Field Dynamics, see if we can get through this video, and then I'm going to decide if I'm going to go ahead and do the second half of the video or if I'm going to send this gun back to Savage. But let me let it cool and we'll come back. All right, we've let her cool. We're going to come back with the Fiachi Field Dynamics. This is a pointed soft point. This is a deer round, 130 grain. It's saying 3,010. I got a plane going overhead in case you guys hear that. But 3,010 feet per second. Load up 3 of these and see how it does. All right, got 3 loaded up. This one is going to be, I'm going to put this one right in the top middle on the red dot in the middle of the top. Well, the action seems to be working. It's still a little stiff, but it's not like it was with those Nosler whitetail country. Looks like about another 1-inch group. All right, those came in at 2869. Those were about 140 feet a second below box listed velocity, so those are pretty slow compared to all the rest of them. That's a little bit different than what we saw in the previous ones. All right, I'm going to go down there and get the target. We'll measure that target up, finish the video up there. Then I got to make a decision. Am I going to go ahead and try to do the second half of this video with the other 6 types of ammo, which are the heavier grains, or am I going to follow up with Savage? But either way, we'll figure that out later. I'm going to go grab this target and we'll measure those up. All right, went down, grabbed the target, measured it up, and let's take a look at what we got. So we started off, first 3 shots here was with the Norma whitetail. I got a 0.82 inch group, and then if you guys remember, I started trying to sight it in and I moved it too far, but basically got it back to right there. So these are shots that I was just trying to move my sight into 0, but a 0.82 group. Then I went up and did the Remington Core Lock, which is the 100 grain pointed soft point. That came in at a 1.2 inch group. Then up here is the Field Dynamics, the Fiachi. This is a 130 grain. This one was considerably slower in the sight in than the rest of the ammo. This one came in 130, 140 feet per second under box velocity, but it ended up with a 1.03 inch group. Then we talked about the American whitetail, or the normal whitetail. Hornady Custom. This came in at a 0.65. This is another 130 grain soft point. That's a pretty decent group at 0.65. Then the ammo that caused me all the trouble, the Nosler Whitetail Country, absolutely will not run in this gun. This rifle locks up the bolt. I had 2 on camera, and then I went ahead and loaded the 3rd one up off camera and shot this one, but it came in at a 1.24 inch group, and I literally had to take a soft blow hammer and beat the bolt open for all 3 of those. Still deciding what I'm going to do about that, but that was the Nosler Whitetail Country, and that's unfortunate because that's been a good performer for me in other calibers, but it didn't perform all that well here, and then something to do with that ammo and that rifle, they don't mesh. And then last but not least, the Hornady American Whitetail. This is another 130 grain projectile, and it came in at 0.77. I had one 0.65 inch group. I like to see half-inch groups at 100 yards. I didn't get a half-inch group out of anything. This Hornady Custom and this Hornady American Whitetail, all the box specs say say the same thing. The grain weight, the velocity, the muzzle energy, all the specs on that are the same. So I'm almost thinking that that's probably pretty close to the same shell or the same cartridge. And you can see they both performed right at about a 0.7, which is decent performance. I would hunt with that, but kind of disappointing on the rest of the other stuff. The normal whitetail didn't do too bad at a 0.8 either. Let me back this camera up and we'll finish this video. All right, there you have it, folks. You guys seen the target, seen the measurements of everything. That's 6 types of ammo. All these were 130 grain, except for the Remington Core Lock, which was a 100 grain. But the rest of these, like I said, were all 130 grain projectiles. Nothing awesome, just decent performing ammunition. So I'm going to go ahead and do the next video and see if any of this other ammo locks up on me. So stay tuned next week, and we'll do the video on the other half of the ammo. And then I'm going to decide if I'm going to send this back to Savage and have them take a look at it. If it shoots real well on something, I'll send it back to Savage. If it doesn't, I'll probably trade it off. No need of keeping a rifle, as much as I really like this. No need of keeping something that I'm not happy with. But either way, I'm going to wrap this video up. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, support us any way you can. Throw comments in the comment section, tune into the live chats. The interaction between the viewers and myself is why I do this. It's the meat and potatoes behind what we do. Hopefully you found some value in the reviews I've done. Hopefully I'll be able to get some film of some of these rigs this year for during rifle season, taking whitetail. But either way, stay safe, everybody, until we meet again on our next Racked Up adventure.